Assalamualaikum and good day everyone. So this is the part 2 of chapter 3 for BWJ 32003 plant physiology. This is a continuation part of the regulation of the plant growth and development. And this is where we're going to learn about plant tropism. Tropism is a biological phenomenon indicating growth or turning movement of plant in response to an environmental stimulus. Or if you have multiple environmental stimulus, then we will call it as environmental stimuli. So tropism is a movement of the plants, of the whole plants or parts of the plants according to the stimulus or the stimuli. So the direction of the movement of plants will be towards or away the stimulus. Tropism in short words, we can say that tropism is the plant growth in response to a stimulus. Okay, because tropo, it means turn. So it turns towards or away from the stimulus. And there are several types of tropisms as listed in here. So for example, is phototropism, geotropism, thigmotropism, Okay, so there are many types of tropism: phototropism, geotropism, thigmotropism, hydrotropism, chemotropism, and also the thermotropism. However, the first top three tu, yang phototropism, geotropism, and thigmo tu, and also hydro sebenarnya. So these are the main types, but we cannot not consider the other types of the tropisms. And from the name itself, from the tropisms, the name of that too, we can actually know the stimulus of that tropism. Okay, so we're gonna have a look at each of the tropism and see what is the positive effect and what is the negative effect. Tropism can have positive or negative effect. Okay, so positive effect too of the tropism, it means that if the plant moves towards the stimulus, then we can say that it is a positive tropism because the plants turns or move towards the environmental stimulus too. We consider it as a negative tropism if the plant moves away from the stimulus. Okay, so the first tropism that we're going to see, I'm sorry because okay, hold on, let me see. Okay, so I'm sorry I can't remove my face there, so you can't really see the animation. So this is the geotropism, So geo, it means earth, and when so geotropism is the growth of a plant in response to the gravity. So we remember geo too, it means earth, and it has something to do with the gravity. So in plants, in one plant they have both the positive geotropism and also the negative geotropism. So the positive geotropism, so remember, positive too, it means when the plant moves towards the stimulus. So when the plants, in this case is the root, when it moves towards the gravity, maknanya ke bawah, then it says that it is having the positive geotropism. So for example, it's the roots are growing down. Also, the plants can have the negative geotropism, meaning that the plant moves away from the stimulus, away from the gravity. Okay, so this one we can see in the stems, and also we can see in the shoots because they are growing up against the gravity force. The importance of the geotropism is because from the positive geotropism, the roots are going down into the soil. So we know that the function of the root too is one of the functions of the root too is to anchor, to give an anchor as a support system to the plant. Also, when the roots going down towards the positive geotropism, then they can search for water and minerals because that is one of the sources for plant growth. The other tropism that we can see here is called the phototropism. So photo, it means light. So phototropism is the growth response of a plant in response to light direction. Okay, so that is what we call the phototropism. So the plants, when they move towards the light, then we call it as a positive phototropism. So in this case, we can see all the plants here, they are moving towards the plant. So they are having the positive phototropism. Okay, so this figure, it shows clearly that these tiny seedlings, they are growing towards the light. So the light is here on the left side. So all the seedlings, all the stems is carrying forward the leaves. So they are bending towards the light. The importance of the phototropism, because the plants, it senses where the light energy or where the light source is, because it's for the photosynthesis process. Because plants do the photosynthesis process, and we know that one of the substrate for the photosynthesis process is the light. So they have to move towards light. The next tropism is the Tigmotropism. So Tigmo, it means touch. So Tigmotropism is when the plants are responding to the touch. So they move towards the touch. And they are having a positive Tigmotropism when whenever they are in contact with the structure or anything, so they will wrap themselves around it. So when they touch something, then they will wrap themselves around that structure. Negative Tigmotropism is when they are going away from the structure whenever they touch that structure. So for example, some plants will close up when being touched, okay, but this is not the case with Mimosa pudica. So Mimosa pudica is a pokok semalu. So Mimosa pudica, we know that when we touch the leaf, then it will close up, okay? But that is not considered as negative Tigmotropism. That is another scenario, another condition atau another movement in which we call it as a nestic movement. Okay, so nestic movement and Thigmotropism, they are different, because Thigmotropism, it means that they respond and they move towards the stimulus. So in this case, it's the touch. But nestic movement for Mimosa pudica, so they close their leaves. It's not because of the stimuli. Okay, it's not because of the stimulus, but because it can be due to changes in their internal. Okay, so for example, changes in the turgor pressure, or maybe changes in the growth. Okay, so remember, Mimosa pudica is not an example of a negative Thigmotropism. Okay, so what is the importance of the Thigmotropism is because they need to support the leaf, because they need to grow higher to reach the sun to make the photosynthesis process. So let's have a look at some other types of tropism. The next one is the Thermotropism. Okay, so from the name itself, thermo tu maknanya heat. So it's the tendency of the plants or other organisms to bend toward or away the heat. Okay, so it's either positive thermotropism or negative thermotropism. Okay, so we can see example from these three figures or pictures. So let's have a look at this one. The thermotropism of the rhododendron. Okay, so rhododendron is one of the plants that is responding to the thermotropism. So when it is having a high temperature surrounding them, so they will fully expand their leaves. But if they are having a low temperature, okay, so they will close up. Okay, so they are going away from the heat. Okay, so the same with this picture on it looks like a palma. kan, Palma plant. So when it is a hot temperature, they will open up. So that is the positive thermotropism. But when it is a cold temperature, then they will going away from the heat. Okay, so this is the negative thermotropism. Another tropism, another type of tropism is called the chemotropism, and chemo too because it means chemical. Yeah, so it is a movement caused by the chemical stimuli. Okay, so the ovule, and we can see in here lah dekat dalam flowering punya structure kan. So the ovule tu it secretes the chemical stimulus. Okay, so the stimuli is in here in the ovule. So it dia mengeluarkan dia punya stimulus and also signal to the pollen tube. So the pollen tube ni dia akan the pollen tube is having the chemotropism. Okay, because they are responding to the ovule, because the ovule tu dia secrete kan the chemical stimulus. So the pollen tube tu will extend itself towards the chemical stimulus. Okay, so this is a positive chemotropism. So the good thing is because when they extend, okay, so for example like this one, when they extend the pollen tube, then it will reach the ovule. So the pollen ataupun the sperm kan, it can go down through the pollen tube and then it will go inside the ovule, then fertilization can happen. So next one is hydrotropism. So hydro, okay, it means water. Okay, so it's the growth ataupun movement of plants in response to the water. Okay, so we can see that the roots are going and searching for the water. Okay, so we can see here the example. So in a box where we have one plant and then we have water, okay, dekat situ provided in there, and then we can see the roots are going towards the water. Yeah. So the importance of the hydrotropism is because the roots too, they have to grow and they have to search for water because the water too is needed for the photosynthesis. Okay, so this is pun another figure or illustration to show on the hydrotropism. So in this box there is a pea seedling and also there is a water in here, and we can see the roots, they are going towards the water stimulus. Okay, so this is a positive hydrotropism. Okay, so this is I'm sorry because you can't read the whole thing kan. Alright, so this is an experiment where they have a seedlings, few seedlings on the bottom of the petri dish. It looks like a petri dish. Okay, and then on top of that seedlings, they put a wet cotton as a source of water for the seedlings. And then when they do this, at first the roots will go down because they will follow the geotropism. So remember geotropism too is on the gravity, kan? Okay, so that's why we can see that almost all the roots are going down towards the geotropism. However, lama-kelamaan, the roots will starting to go up. You can see here, starting to go up. They are turning themselves, go up towards the water because the water is on the top of the seedling. So in this case, the conclusion of the experiment is that the force or the hydrotropic effect is stronger than the geotropic effect because they are already going towards the geotropism for the gravity. However, when they feel that there is a need for them to have the water, so that's why the hydrotropic effect too is stronger, and they turn the roots too from going towards the gravity and is turning to the water. Okay, so this is the summary for this part 2 is on the tropism. So there are a few types of tropism, and these are the 4 main types of the tropism. However, there are several other tropisms that we have covered just now. And phototropism, photo tu it means light. So it is the plant response to light. And then geotropism tu it means earth or gravity. So the plant's response to gravity. And then Tigmotropism, Tigmo it means touch, so it's the plant's response to touch. And the last one is the Hydrotropism. So Hydrotropism too is hydro kan is water lah, so it's the plant's response to water. So that's the end of part 2, and thank you very much everyone.